Good evening, dear viewers, and welcome back here on Rift Entertainment for the final week here at the Elite Series League of Legends 2nd Division Spring Split. It's the last sprint until the playoffs, and let me tell you, things are still very open. But before I get to that, let me introduce by my side the one, the only, Duda. Welcome back!
I'm back in the house! Guys, I'm back!
Back in the house, and let me tell you, man, a lot has happened here at the ESLOL, or actually did a lot happen, I don't know, it's still so open, I wouldn't even know what to say. But essentially, we're week 7, right? So we still have today and tomorrow, not tomorrow, but today and Friday as game nights, and then we're off to the playoffs to finish off this spring split. And 2 teams are already for sure qualified. I think the first one you can absolutely guess. ESLOL, still unbeaten throughout this spring split, will be going to playoffs for sure. And right behind them is PERTINAX Esports, currently standing 8-4, and with that actually demarking themselves of the rest of the team, because once you get to 3rd and 4th spot, it's a mess. 3rd spot is Dynasty 6-6, and then you just have a slew of teams, Aurora, JÖRMUNGANG, Next and PERTINAX, all tied up. It's literally anyone's bet. Whoever wins the most matches now goes to playoffs. It's just, you cannot predict what's gonna happen, and we've had an insane split, right? It all seemed so clear at the start. You were for sure gonna say, oh, these teams are gonna go on, but no, some teams maybe had a rough time at the start, and they were still able to get back up there in the rankings for the end of the split. I'm thinking notably about JÖRMUNGANG, who really had a rough time at the start, and now just, I don't know, it's from 0 to a hero. They're now up there back in the race, and still everything is open for any team going to playoffs. Now, of course, everything is still open, but it won't be the case for long, because, well, it's all gonna end one way or another today, Friday, or maybe if it gets to that on a later date with a tiebreaker if needed, because of course if teams are tied, we look at various stuff, their head-to-head confrontation, and so on and so on. I don't have the exact specifics in mind right now, but I believe we look at the head-to-head, and then maybe who took the most recent win during the second part of the split. And if they're still dead tied on every level, only then a match is played. But yeah, it's always open, especially when you have a potential 4-way tie. Because we are at that level, it's just so unclear who's gonna go next. Now for today we have quite a bit on our plate. 4 matches to be played. We'll have PERTINAX going up against JÖRMUNGANG. That will be the first match of today. We'll see who of them is going to be able to break the tie, because those are 2 teams tied currently at 5-7 each. We'll then have PERTINAX Esports against Next. Full clear, already being qualified, of course. They don't have much riding here, unless they want to just cripple other teams in their rest of the race, honestly. Then we'll have ESLOL against Dynasty. The same applies here for them as for full clear, although ESLOL does have this honor of unbeaten throughout the whole split to maintain, which we know is always a great feat, but we know with the ESLOL it's not always too concluding. And last but not least, we'll have Once Upon a Team going up against Aurora to finish the day beautifully. Now, I've mentioned the standings quite a few times, and maybe we can also get a look at those so you can put a proper image on that, because, well, it's always all good when I just shout scores here and there, but it's not very visual. Now you can see here ESLOL at the top and PERTINAX Esports right behind them with 12 and 8 each. Now you can see when I'm saying full clear is already through. We have 2 more match days, and the only other team that could even get to 8 is Dynasty. And then you have Aurora, which is the next one in line, which can, like, at max get to 7, along with Next, JÖRMUNGANG and PERTINAX Esports, meaning they cannot reach PERTINAX Esports. That's why they're through. and for them everything is still open. And then ending off, we have Once Upon a Team who had a chance to get 2 games in this split. However, we're not able to ride the wave and keep that momentum going for the rest of the split. Right. Now, as we've shown to you, Game 1 we have JÖRMUNGANG against PERTINAX. 2 teams that are extremely tight, but I've already talked about it a bit. JÖRMUNGANG, they've had this kind of slow rise coming in the split. They had a really rough time at the start, but in the end were still able to get back in the race. So honestly, they've improved quite a lot over the split. Meanwhile, PERTINAX, they've been more of a more or less consistent ride throughout. No big hardships at the start, and no rise we've had from JÖRMUNGANG. So it's always hard to say with that kind of situation which team should take it. I mean, on one side, one that has been consistently good, one that had a rough start and then exponentially grew. It's always hard to judge those teams and see how they will do against another. Though they've played quite a few times against each other, you can't really put them on the proper scale here. So it's for sure gonna be an intense matchup. And I mean, that's not the only one. I mean, we're at the last sprint, ladies and gentlemen. And I know I keep saying that, but it's really important. We are at the last sprint. We have so many teams that could still make it, meaning that their morale should be at the top if they want to make the cut. They have to go all in there. They have to be at the peak of their game. It's now or never. Everything is on the plate here, because of course you want to get to playoffs. Playoffs is first of all a higher prize pool, of course, for the teams who make it there, but it's also the chance to show off and eventually get a place in order to play the relegation for Div 1, because that's where we're at right now. Summer split, end of the season, we'll be heading to this change, potential 2 teams going up, 2 teams leaving Division 1. It's all or nothing, and we've seen a lot of upsets in playoffs as well, so it's this last chance where you can go from barely getting that seed in to suddenly destroying everybody. We've had that in the spring split with the Reapers, who had a rough time during the season, then got back in, entered the playoffs, and just demolished almost everything. So it's really now or never. They'll have to go all in and eventually get to win. There is no better time than now to make yourself a name here in the 2nd division of the ESLOL. Alright, so looking where we're at here. Right, still have quite a few things to clear up, but we'll be heading... Oh! We have someone on the camera.
I'm alive. It's working.
It's working.
It's working. I'm alive.
We have it through that window, ladies and gentlemen, and with that, we're ready for Champ Select. Wow, the gift that keeps on giving here. And we're already quite well into that Champ Select. JÖRMUNGANG having gone for a Kog'Maw Braum bot lane. Pretty solid. Very, quite a lot of peel for that Kog'Maw to get around. Rel jungle has been really strong lately and just gives them so much CC already. On the other side, PERTINAX Esports answering with a Maokai jungle, a staple here during the whole split at this ESLOL. And then they'll go for a classic Jinx Lulu bot lane.
So yeah, on both sides we are kind of seeing the same pattern. So we are having hyperscaling on the bot side. So we are having Kog'Maw for JÖRMUNGANG, and we are having Jinx for PERTINAX, which, I mean, both scaling champions have to be... I mean, Kog'Maw's level 1 is pretty insane. So Jinx has to be very careful about that. I guess at the moment it looks like they will have that Rel jungle and that Braum as a support. And though on the side of PERTINAX, I like the Maokai the choice, because at the start, at the moment that Maokai hits level 6, he has just such huge pressure because of his ultimate that can just go from very far, and you have so much CC. And of course the Lulu to protect the hyper carry, which is something I prefer instead of a Braum now for the Kog'Maw, because also someone like Kog'Maw really profits from like an enchanter that just enchants like the abilities he does.
Yeah, makes it strong. And I think there is a bit of a clock here on the bot lane for JÖRMUNGANG. Once PERTINAX gets to that level 6 state with the Maokai, who does like so aggressive ganks, such strong ganks with massive CC, it starts getting really dangerous for them. Now we're heading into the second picking phase. We already have a Syndra locked in for PERTINAX Esports, who's probably on the mid lane, leaving their last pick for the top lane to counter eventually JÖRMUNGANG's top lane pick, which it seems they're kind of being hesitant on, and it's going to be a Nasus. Quite a lot of scaling coming into their hand with that.
And also quite a lot of damage, because I mean, with that infinite scaling from Nasus, it's just they're really profiting about the late game scaling. But now if I'm quite ambitious to see what they're gonna pick on the side of PERTINAX to answer to that Nasus. And we're going to have that LeBlanc, and we have seen a lot of very beautiful places with that LeBlanc, and that has shown, even though getting nerves on that that static build, it showed that it is really powerful if you want to use it as poke, or even just to clear your wave and get to other lanes to play. And that was actually also the thing I was afraid of for JÖRMUNGANG, because yes, you have the Nasus, yes, he scales, but if you get like a bully who is like the predator of the lane, this will be really hard playable, and you will have to like really play safe, get the scaling. Yeah, with that level 6, I'm ambitious to see if he's going to be like, if EXO is going to be like really careful about it, or if he's going to take those fights. I mean, should normally respect that Aatrox, because already having the Q that has like 3 procs is really strong, and this is something Nasus cannot keep up with, no matter what runes they pick, if they would go for the trade.
Yeah, definitely very dangerous starting then. And you always have the threat of, I mean, Markel, although I think we can both agree the focus is usually as always the bot lane, but I mean, just needs to be unfortunate timing, he's there, and then you're probably dead, because as a Nasus, yes, you can slow one of them, you can't slow 2 of them, and one of them is going to get his CC after you, then you're stuck, and sure, you can survive some time, you have a lot of HP, but eventually they're going to get you. And here you also have a very dangerous precedent because of the pushing power of the Natrix. I mean, he can push rather fast, he takes those turrets down at a really good pace generally. And this can put the edge if you have both bot lanes that are on equal grounds. If there is no strong side there, it can give them this slight edge over the others.
I really want to see that mid lane matchup, because we have LeBlanc on JÖRMUNGANG side, and we have Syndra on the side of PERTINAX. I'm pretty much a fan of Syndra, because you have a lot of damage, you have a lot of CC, which is also like, if you have like Nasus running towards you, you can just like use your crowd control abilities and just get him off the lane. Like we said before, we have that Kog'Maw Brown and Jinx and Lulu, so we'll go for that hyper scaling on the bot side. And I think that Maokai and Rel will really focus the bot lane, because as of now, if they get that Jinx fad, she's going to run through that game actually. Someone that is really dangerous for Jinx is also LeBlanc, because I mean, we already see the fleet footwork, so in my opinion it's going to be that static build. And for Aatrox, I mean, Aatrox has also a really great carry potential as already the character itself, because always getting that reset on that fear is also really strong for the ultimate. I think that if top lane if top lane does not get the support needed to win or survive the lane, that top lane will look really gray screenish, let's call it like that, for Nasus. I mean, I would call it like that in that moment, but I have to be careful, because Rel is not allowed to leave that Kog'Maw too much alone, because in my opinion, Kog'Maw is going to be really that that character you want to play around.
Yeah, definitely. And such a strong AD carry, and I mean with Braum, Rel, the gangs of the Rel, I mean they have so much CC, the two of them. Those botlane gangs are going to be so dangerous, and there's then, even then, if it were to go slightly sour, there's still so much speed. Peel for the Kog'Maw. I said spleen, I don't know.
Yeah, it's a German coming out.
Peel for the Kog'Maw, and that's the thing. I am a bit curious about the Syndra pick, because the Braum can rather easily instant counter the strongest tool, which is her ultimate, right? If the Braum is a bit careful, like you would have the ultimate to, okay, Kog'Maw is now in a position where I can just nuke him. Yeah, nuke that Kog'Maw away. But there comes Braum. He's like there, he's just there in an instant, shield up. So I think it's gonna be a lot of this kind of mouse and cat game. Who uses which ability first? Who's gonna have the ability off cooldown when it matters most? That we're gonna see here.
Well, one thing we didn't mention is still that Lulu pick, because we do have that LeBlanc that is really dangerous for Syndra and Jinx. Though, if Lulu should be by their side with the shield or the ultimate, that is a really strong ability that gets forgotten a lot and just underestimated, where people just outmess themselves and then pretty much get outplayed by the next carry next to them. But I think that you are right though about the thing that it's going to be about timings, it's going to be about who uses their cooldown best, it's going to be about a clean rotation, it's going to be about which side the jungler now decides to play. These are for me like pretty sure things.
Yeah, absolutely. And well, we've talked a bit now about the champ select, and as it goes, loading screen is over and we're headed into the first game of tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Here, week 7, day 1, the last sprint until playoffs, and we have PERTINAX going up against GG.
So pretty, like we said in the loading screen before, so it's going to be really about timings, it's going to be about where we're going to position ourselves, and at the moment it really looks like that both teams are going to play it the safe way. Nobody is going to go for like an invade or a risky play. We see that Rel tries to get some info, but still on both sides they are really like just closing the jungle, not go for a risky play that we will be sad about in a couple of minutes. And we have already also the LeBlanc starting with a long sword, which for me is just a static build. You won't go through it.
Minions have spawned.
I already have the longsword. Can't forget, we're still on patch 13.13 here.
Oh yes.
Yeah, we're starting off a very standard, no aggression on any side. I mean, they don't really have on any side the tools to do anything, unless they were to start with weird abilities. So we're starting off. Okay, Maokai starting on the top side, while Rel is going to start on the bot side, meaning that they're all going to, for the first rotation, they're going to go in opposite directions.
They could. So the Maokai is definitely, in my opinion, rotating. He's going to go for the full clear because he needs that level 6, in my opinion. Rel, though, looks more like it's going for a fast clear and then maybe for a gang on the bot side. So I ask myself now how the laning state will look like, if Kog'Maw is going to push back or wait for the jungler. But I guess that the plan would more be to let Jinx get that little advantage, maybe get some minions to thin out the wave. But okay, no, Rel does finish the red buff, so we're going for level 3 on the bot side. We see some early aggressions on the top side, we see some early aggressions on mid lane to get the HP advantage.
Yeah, we can see already that Aatrox does have quite a bit of an upper hand in that matchup here. Already kind of bullying Axel away, not letting him farm in peace, which is Nasus's worst dream, right?
Well, I mean, this is basically what you want to do, since Nasus is going to beat you in early games. Since you are going to beat Nasus in the early games, you do not want him to scale that hard. So if you...
Here we have the early gang of Oval coming in to help out Axo, and the damage is already falling on JJS, and he's getting really low. Flash still up, however, so that's good. But now maybe some breathing room for the Nasus player here.
I think this is also really important to give that Nasus room, but it would have been better for PERTINAX if Jinx would have let Kog'Maw push. I understand that they have the lead to get that minion, to get the minion lead. Though having the Maokai on the bot side would have given them the advantage to just play 3v2, and this would have been like they could have secured the first blood with it, which would have been really worth in my opinion.
I think that now they seem to be like looking for the other lane to push in. Oh, we have another gang on the top lane here. JJS gets knock up in on Axo, but Oval is now just there to start the CC chain, and yeah, with that's done, first blood goes to the Nasus.
So yeah, really clean. Like it is just. It was really good for GMGG because, like I said, they have the Kog'Maw on the tower, so he's not gonna go for a risky play. They are not that pokey-ish, so that they will not lose the whole HP bar.
And here we have a gang of bot lane. Posse already getting really low, but with the shield and the flash is gonna be able to get on the turret. Using Ignite as well, kind of be a threat to them, get their own HP low.
So, like I said before, it is just really advantage for them because they might fall some CS behind, like we see on Kog'Maw. He's starting to get a couple of CS behind compared to Jinx. Though playing that safe way and let the other side of the map scale is also fine. I would not say that is now the best way, or it would be the best way. I'm not saying that, but if Aatrox is not winning his lane, he's going to be pretty much useless on top side, because, I mean, the faster Nasus scales, the faster the game is over for Aatrox.
Yeah, and I mean, he's already got that Sheen, so now Aatrox can't be too liberal with what he does. 1Q is still gonna hurt quite a bit. And meanwhile, on the bot lane, while, yeah, play wasn't too fruitful, but they do have the advantage on sides of PERTINAX. Makla as well, because of Oval's shenanigans on the top lane, is quite a bit ahead in terms of CS. Still a lot of damage from that Aatrox if you get hit by everything.
So yeah, now we have the Aatrox that is level 6 on top side, so unless Nasus gets that level 6 to fight back, he will lose really hard. Like we saw right now, with only the longsword and hitting the 3 abilities, he shredded 3/4 of the HP bar, which is a lot of damage.
While being on the top bot side, GMGG decides to go for that Drake. Pretty free. Makla was just on the bot side, and now he is on the top side for his clear there. That Drake goes GMGG for free.
Well, I mean, they really should not contest it, in my opinion. I mean, the Drake is also not that worth to now risk a play that you would be really disappointed about later on.
Yeah, definitely. Especially with so many people there, it's just asking to get killed. And yeah, ooh, Oval goes deep in Makla's jungle with the health advantage, is able to put some damage on him. But PERTINAX is quick to react as Iris is coming in from the bot lane. Nice dodge there. We have the ultimates dropped on the top lane in the meantime. Ooh, no, Iris is going to get caught by Oval. Nice wave, however, to push them back. And will survive that encounter.
I mean, since they got the first blood, they're like playing really aggressively. Even though...
Here we have the skirmish on the top lane. That's a Q hitting. Flash it for the auto attack, and we pick up the kill on the sides of PERTINAX. And yeah, GMGG maybe have gotten, as you said, a bit too comfortable, so to say, with that first blood.
A little bit too comfortable, in my opinion. I mean, they did have the wave advantage on the mid lane and on the bot side, so first Jinx and Syndra had to respond to the waves. Impossible to just joined. At that moment, they pushed the waves way too slow. That it is worth to get together and then try to defend that trick. You will just make a bad macro and it would put everybody really hard out of position, in my opinion. Now, Aatrox is still in Aatrox. I mean, as long as Nasus did not came to that scaling point, it will still stay in Aatrox. I mean, it is just not a favorable matchup against for Nasus in the early. In my opinion, I'm kind of sad seeing so much damage and the finished boots, even like without having the Bramble Vest. In my opinion, Bramble Vest would have helped a lot, since a lot of a lot of healing is in the kit of Aatrox. So basically, with every damage or like ability auto attack he does, he just gets a lot of HP back, and this is something you do not want. It's like really. I mean, it would be, for me, it would be mandatory to get Bramble Vest as soon as possible.
Yeah. So here we have the damage on Iris getting really low, but coming under the turret just in time. With Makula to the side, maybe able to turn the situation around on Drust, but he's gonna go back to his own jungler. The situation is diffused. Oval doing the Rift Herald in the meantime, getting joined by Axo. The situation might be explosive because we have Leolas and we have Posity who came from the bot lane. With that, PERTINAX is dissuaded from trying to deny that Rift Herald to GMGG.
It looked like they would go for it, and like at the very start we got the vision on it. It really looked like they would go for it, but I think that they could have also gone for it because, wait, we are having ultimate on Aatrox, we are having ultimate on Nasus, and I think that Aatrox does has the capacity to play against that, but Aatrox still not bought. I mean, he did not went back to get Skulled, so we are sitting a lot of gold on Aatrox.
It was a 3v4 technically. Iris was way too low to have any impact without risking of dying. While GMGG still had Rust there mid-life, so able to fight. Could have been doable, but definitely risky, and I think right now risky is not always the good call because there's so much at stake here.
I mean, we kind of seeing that the people just want like to give back what they got. So if you're trying to reset, I'm gonna interrupt you. This is kind of looking like a little mini game on the top side. Farm-wise, we are pretty equally on every lane. Like we have like a little difference. Like for example, between the Jinx and the Kog'Maw, but Kog'Maw did not die, he's still playing his game pretty passively, and I mean that is fine by him not going too much risky plays in the early, since the late scale would be really strong.
Yeah, but here goes the ticking clock. Oh god, what's going on? The ticking clock for GMGG. I mean, especially now that there is a 16 creep difference between the AD carries. They decide to go for the aggressive play with the knock-up to get some nice damage on Mr. Hub. Makula needs some time to get back in. With the knock-up, we give you in some time, but the damage on Mr. Hub is big. He's able to get under the turret. The Val sprinting behind him, getting the mount back now just in time, and the situation turns a bit around as Posity and the Death Q are getting really low. We flash in on sides of Leolas, try to get the kill on the AD carry. Goes to Makula. Now Val all alone there. Is going to try to get at least a return kill. And that goes to Mr. Hub. Perfect for them. 2-1 for PERTINAX.
That was... I think GMGG wished for it kind of differently. You could really see that Kog'Maw really wanted to get to it, but at the end did not match it when they turned back to get... when they had the cooldowns back, I mean on the side of PERTINAX. I mean... in my opinion, they played it really clean because they still tried to put themselves in front of Kog'Maw, trying to be like another target or like block the abilities that could fly towards Kog'Maw. It was pretty technically, I mean, beautifully played, but I think that just the HP advantage was just too great.
Rift Herald getting locked down now. GMGG on the bot lane might get that charge in as platings are still up to get some money in that Kog'Maw's pocket, especially with last play that went a bit sour. Getting back into the game, kind of. And closed that a gold gap. We're now at only 1k gold difference. It was a little bit earlier. And we have 2 Drakes on sides of GMGG. So things are looking okay.
It is looking pretty okay actually, because I mean now by getting these Drakes advantage, I mean you always say how do you want to help your top lane without going top lane? Well, you do that by doing Drakes.
Yeah.
Since these will be the attributes and stats that your opponent will not have.
Yeah, and Axo taking advantage of it immediately, was able to dodge a few abilities quite deftly and put the pressure on JJS and actually winning that 1v1. He's now able to push that lane in. There's no TP back for the Aatrox, so he's going to be able to get maybe some platings if he's fast enough. So that's good. Axo turning the tides on the top lane.
I mean, we're slowly but surely going to that 15-minute mark. So I like the 15-minute mark because this is like an end of an era, like for me. Like we are going to the next step of the chapter and continue this game on another kind of pace.
Mm-hmm.
And this is the pace that characters like Nasus, like Jinx, like Kokma, they really want to go to that point because it's mostly relied on their level. I mean, the higher they go into their level, the better they scale through stats.
Yeah, definitely, and we are getting there. Ooh, very dangerous back here as Possidy gets interrupted, has to flash over the Trumpers to survive this really tight situation. Fortunately, the AD Kawi made it to safety before it went bad.
I mean, this was really cleanly played by Jinx. I mean, before even there was like a too short space to do something, she already trapped the whole way, so Braum could not go ahead.
Both junglers on the top lane. PERTINAX thinks they have to survive, but Axo is already really low from all that damage. They get stunned on JJS. He is forced to flee, use his ultimate. Now Makula in between them is going to flee a bit. Ari's coming in and picking up the kill against Axo is that Aatrox player. Now we have Possidy just around the corner, joining in with Trust and Leola. Situation might be turned around in favor of GMGG, but do they have the damage with the Lulu ultimate? They survive a bit longer. Doval now really low, has to be careful. Gets some shield because of the mount. Trust gets some damage out of them. Ari's getting really low. This is looking really good for GMGG now. Just picks up another kill on Aris this time around. Leolas might be able to finish them off, however, with the shield. That's not going to be the case, and Possidy comes out with 2 kills of this rotation on the top lane.
This was like a huge fight, and it was really cleanly played. I couldn't tell in the beginning how it would turn out, but it was really like this back and forth. Like you go into the fight, and then you have this 1v1, and then you see the enemy's mate coming from behind, and then you're like, okay, no, let's go back, and then you have 2 mates coming back.
Yeah.
And on the other side, you have again more mates coming to fight, and at the end it was a mate fighting where mates just fight it all the time. Insane fight on the top side.
It was definitely a mess. No clear winners until the very end. And even then, I mean, we have a Braum that got 2 kills from the situation, so...
Yeah, also Rel picked up something, so we show that it is the tanks, still the tanks are reigning.
Yeah. It's tank season here in the Summoner's Rift. Both teams grouped up around that Herald. Seems like both want to contest it. GMGG on the flank, gets some damage on missed HP. Makula finding the engage with the roots, but they have their assassin on the backside with the Jigs. We get Leolas down. Now Dross is next to fall, and with that GMGG has to rely on Naxa for the damage, but they get the situation, turn some nice damage on Makula, who gets really low here. Aris still full life, is able to poke them away. Ooh, nice Q from Possidy here, almost gets the kill on Makula. GMGG now with the numerical advantage is able to put their foot down. However, PERTINAX is overall a bit more healthy, so they're still looking for an angle, but the situation is overall diffused now.
So still we're having the gold. I mean, looking at the gold, we're still having an advantage on the side of GMGG. I mean, it's okay, it's not that much, but still, I mean, that K comes also with experience, and having the experience lead is really fruitful for the team. Meanwhile, we see that PERTINAX is going for their first break.
It's not giving that up for GMGG, already have to, and giving them the soul point. We've just seen that GMGG in fights still seems to hold their ground really well, and PERTINAX has a tough time to get through the massive CC and peel. However, yes, goal difference, but a bit unfortunate spread thereof, with good part of it being into that Grom with the 2 kills. But they make do, and also a lot of farm on the sides of GMGG. We have Drust, who's really well into his CSing, and Axo as well, who in the meantime is able to keep up. And we can't forget that, of course, a CS lead for Nasus means that he usually has quite a few stacks.
I mean, he has 2 kills. He's pretty much even with Aatrox, just that Aatrox died once more, and this is not something you want as an Aatrox in that situation.
He got a lot of platings and first turn on the top lane as well. Now we have the tower dive on the bot lane. Makula answers it with the thorns. However, it is not enough. Axo drops the ultimate. Very nice to see here. Mr. Hub already really low. Is going to fall at the hands of that Nasus player. Meanwhile, the Kog'Maw picks up a kill against Makula. Now, with the Herald turret, Tier 1 on the bot lane is done. We're going to get a second charge on sides of GMGG on that bot lane. They can maybe even finish that turret altogether with that numerical advantage. 5 men on the bot lane against 3 of PERTINAX, with 2 of them being down. They're not able to stop that push, and GMGG gets 2 turrets.
I mean, it's looking really not good for that Aatrox at the moment, and it's really looking really good for that Nasus. I mean, he can just starting to TP, get into those fights, even... I mean, Jinx is not at the moment that she can contest Nasus, but still no Bramblevest, and this is something kind of bothering, since they will have that healing. I mean, Aatrox is not a problem at the moment, but still, you have Aatrox that heals a lot, you have Maokai that heals a lot, you have Lulu that puts a lot of shields and healing on people, and just, I mean, getting that away should be the way, in my opinion. Also, I mean, we are having a huge difference in gold now, since we are having 4k difference. This is already like a complete, like a little more than a complete item. But we see a lot of tension now on the side of the top lane. In my opinion, this is also the next objective we should, like, the people should focus, because tower-wise for GMGG they opened up pretty much the map.
Yeah.
Compared to PERTINAX, they only got the bot lane, so they will work on getting that mid lane, but with Jinx it will be a lot easier on having it on the mid lane. That Syndra is on the side lane is completely logical and also the way to go, though you really want to have that CC when Nasus comes back, when Rel is there, when Braum wants to jump on you. I mean, you really want just to kick those carries away from your own carries and keep the backline safe, because it's just the way to go.
Most definitely, especially since JÖRMUNGANG, for the most part, they stay together. The ball is in their court, they know it, so they're kind of setting the pace here. We have Axo on the side lane, of course, keeping the Aatrox busy, trying to get a push in. And now with Drust to answer to that Syndra push, TP is up for both mid laners, and for the Aatrox, not for Axo. So PERTINAX does have the way to respond, at least a quick engage, but JÖRMUNGANG makes sure to stay not too far away from Axo, which is really good, because if they are to engage, he can still join in rather quickly without TP up. Now the cooldown is off very soon, so I think they're going to spread a bit more, with still trying to look for an angle of that Baron.
It would have been an angle to do something on the mid lane, because LeBlanc was still pushing on the bot lane, and you saw that if Syndra would have gone to that mid lane, they would have had the 5v4, And that would have been a really great advantage, because he could have forced that fight. LeBlanc wouldn't have been there in time, though she could have TP'd, yes. But still, you're winning that time, so taking advantage of that time and trying to get a pick to again get that even more advantage would have been the way.
JÖRMUNGANG is like they're not stressed or anything. I mean, they have Kog'Maw, which scales really good. They have Nasus, which scales infinitely, and here we have the engage on the mid lane. Mr. Hub already on the threat from Druz is gonna die really quick. In the meantime, in the mid lane, Makala caught in. The rest of JÖRMUNGANG is also gonna fall at their hands. JJS came in with that TP getting really low. Leolas all alone gets caught by Axo. Double kill for the Nasus player, and 3 down for PERTINAX. With that, JÖRMUNGANG is gonna be able to go for that Baron.
And that's what I meant. You go for that pick, you get that player advantage, and then you rush for that Baron. Because even now, after getting that Baron, they have 2 options. They can reset, or they can go down to Drake, and going down to Drake would be totally the way, since that would be their 3rd Drake, and the Drake is also pretty good. Also, you do not want the enemy to get the Drake, but it looks like a safe reset. We go back, we cash in the gold. We already have like shutdowns stacking up upon players, like we're having 450 gold on top side. We have 450 gold total on the bot side. I mean, getting those shutdowns and put them on Syndra or on Jinx would be really fruitful for PERTINAX.
And well, they still made it in time to Baron. And of course, PERTINAX started off right off the bat, but JÖRMUNGANG still has the ball in the court. They decide to go all in. A lot of CC falling on PERTINAX's front line. Drake is already really low. Mr. Hub as well flashed away. Makala did get the Drake, however, but situation is dire still for PERTINAX, as now a 2nd member of their team is dying, and GMGG just has this big numerical advantage now. With the Baron buff, they have it so easy to push in, because they can simply go. They send 4 people mid, they have Drust on the side lane, and what is PERTINAX gonna do? They cannot stop any of them.
No, that's true, because now, okay, we're at 25 minutes into game, and we're just coming to those moments where our hyper carries just start shining, because that's their prime time. Also having that lethal tempo on Nasus that gives him a really great fighting power in the team fights, which we just saw before. That is just like showing that he is becoming a menace to this map, and that they really have to try to get the shutdowns on Kog'Maw and on Nasus and the bot lane, so that their carries have enough damage to bring down at least the Nasus, because it looked a lot like Nasus really focusing that backline. And if the backline cannot kill Nasus, or CC him long enough to kill him, or even make him enough damage while he's CC'd, then this will not be playable. Like, not playable at all.
Yeah, and I mean, Nasus is like, that's his whole fantasy, right? If Matt takes some time, but he'll get to you, and he'll get you good. I mean, he's got this infinite scaling, and even then, the W slow, even if he's like so far away, he's gonna slow you and just walk towards you as you'll walk towards your death, and sooner or later he's gonna catch you if you're not like with at least a few people to hold him back. And yeah, definitely played out really good for JÖRMUNGANG this pick, as now all still in their court, still have Baron buff, although not for too long I believe, but they're gonna go for a 1-3-1. Push those side lanes, keep the mid lane busy. Classic.
I mean, by having like Aatrox and Maokai in front of Syndra and Jinx, this could be doable, but they really need to focus at CC on Nasus so that he has not enough time, because Nasus is a typical like this. He's a typical top laner with typical top laner issues, and that he is a needy. So if people just have enough CC and kite him back, Nasus will not be able to do anything about that. He does has Ghost, but once Ghost is out, he will just be kited, stunned, knocked back. Just not playable. I think that if PERTINAX gets this right, they will be able to turn turn around the tides and just put it in favor that they have that the JMGG has so much gold waiting to be collected.
Yeah, there is the like super big bounties. There's also the objective bounties for PERTINAX to take, but the gold difference is a whooping 8.5k. That's like 2 fully built items. You could maybe even more, 3, depending on the items. And the thing is, JÖRMUNGANG, they're actually not stressed at all. They are ahead, but the longer it's like stretches out, the more ahead they're gonna get, because AXO is just gonna keep scaling at that point.
It is all about a scaling game, though.
Nice damage from Marius here, and AXO gets him mid-life. Was maybe a bit too cocky here on that walk. He's gonna have to life steal that back up. JMGG do have a bit of a rough time to get the push through, but slowly but surely they get it through. They took that tier 2 on the bot lane with multiple waves. They just take their time, as much time as they want. 2 objectives up very soon. The third Drake for both teams in about 30 seconds, which would be soul point for either of them, but also Baron in 45 seconds. And JÖRMUNGANG seems to be going for that Drake here, setting up early to get that for sure.
It is really important, in my opinion, at the state of the game where we are, to put maybe more priority on those Drakes, because first of all, these are buffs you get and deny your opponents, and second, we are really far into game, so this just helps having better scaling, having more like win potential, and where Baron just helps like just to get your minions strong, but not your champions. And in that moment, I think you really want to get your champion strong. That's why they should have, in my opinion, prioritized the Drake, which also JMGG did.
Yeah.
But now it's on turn of Baron.
Absolutely, the timing is perfect. They rotated as it spawns back. PERTINAX in the meantime took 2 turrets, sure, but JMGG can now lock them in their tracks. Those 2 turrets aren't making the big difference. Mr. Dross found a nice angle on Mr. Hub, getting him really low. In the meantime, AXO bot lane pushing in. Will GMGG do it? The 4v5 possibly is the first to fall. This looks a bit dire, but now JJS falling as well. Makula really low. Is he going to survive? Yes, they do. And now it's a Val all alone with Dross, who try to find a way. No, another kill going to PERTINAX. Dross is able to pick up another kill. Is he going to be able to interrupt those packs? Makula is so close to death, and in the meantime, AXO goes for the base. Such a close one. Dross is going to kill Makula as well now. And Leolas, unable to back because of Dross' threat, is going to get killed by the Lebon player of GMGG, and that's a win for them as AXO went for the push in the meantime. Wow.
To be honest, I wouldn't have like believed that it would have gone so good for that Nasus. Like, Nasus really had performed in this game. I would have seen more like putting a lot of focus on the bot side and getting those carries to like roam over the map so they can help the other lanes out to win better, but just getting that first blood on Nasus and make him scale, and him actually not losing completely the lane. I mean, he died once, I think, on the 5-minute mark, but afterwards he just like kept scaling, kept staying even, had the first blood, and just by staying even helped him, because Aatrox really wants to bully the living crap out of Nasus, and this didn't work. Really sad for Aatrox.
Yeah. I mean, it definitely worked out really well for JÖRMUNGANG in the end. I think those early ganks really helped him get into the game and not getting stumped, because we saw Aatrox still had the upper hand, right? And even after the first blood that went to the Nasus, but he was able to play it more or less safe, and then Oval came one more time, and then starting to get into it. Nicely played from JÖRMUNGANG on there. And as well with that, even though the bot lane was a bit behind, they were still able to hold it out. And at the end, I mean, Dross, wow, keeping the 3 packs busy. Really well played for the LeBlanc player. Really good performance from JÖRMUNGANG overall?
I'm also really like, I don't know how to say. It's just on the mid lane. I thought LeBlanc would like have a lot of pressure on the bot side. I expected LeBlanc to like get the first items and then like having a really aggressive play on the bot, since also Jinx pushed a lot. Like we saw Jinx being a lot in front of the tower of GMGG. But I heard that we have someone coming today. I heard that.
We're keeping going with those interviews, and of course we'll have an interviewee of the winning team. Welcome, Val, jungler for JÖRMUNGANG Esports. Welcome. So, good game, well done, well played overall to you and your whole team. How are you feeling right now? It's one step closer to the playoffs.
The start of the season, that was the hard start because we had some trouble finding our playstyle. On now we just like 6 win, yeah, 6-7.
You should be by
Yeah.
six. Yes.
Yes.
So that's a big. It's big honestly. So we are really happy. I'm really happy as well. I'm also on well duty.
Yes, I mean, worked really well in this game. The mass CC just worked out perfectly for you guys. And you talked about having a rough start indeed in this split. And that was one question I really want to ask you is, what happened? What did you, as a team, JÖRMUNGANG overall, do to change the tides and like get back up? You're now like so close to actually making it to playoffs.
Actually, we went to a bootcamp together in Belgium, so it helped a lot because we were much closer to each other. We were talking in IRL. It wasn't virtual, so it helped a lot. And we also got a coach that helped us to fix some points, some critical points. So it helped us to play better and fix the small mistake that denied us our first victory. So honestly, the mood was good, but we knew if we didn't win a single game after 0-5, we were close maybe to find something else to do. I mean, maybe replacements, maybe not. We don't know. So we're glad we got our first victory together in bootcamp, and now we are here.
Yeah. I mean, worked out great. I'm so happy for you.
I mean, for me, it's just like, how did you plan your game? Because for like this game right now, because for me it was more like, it looked like you would like focus the bot side, and still like you really made that Nasus so big. Like he was just like, in my opinion, like really becoming the monster in your team. And what is the plan?
We had a plan, first plan that was to play bot, but we saw the Jinx Lulu, and Jinx Lulu honestly is hard to play against. I mean, you have to dive or you have to counter gank. You can't really gank that kind of lane. So I was like, if we have opportunity, I will look to bot. But I think if I can cover my top side, it could be good because the Nasus can just split push the whole game and outscale really hard Aatrox if we give him a lead. So that's what I did, and it worked. Even if he died solo once, honestly, it was according to the plan. It was look for opportunity bot. Oh, I mean, look for opportunity top and maybe cover bot side if they need help. So honestly, we are just playing good. I don't think everything. I don't think a team can beat us at the moment. Even Rift.
Ooh, even the Rift's
I like the
Even
confidence. I like the confidence.
Well, because I was gonna ask, a Friday, last match day before the playoffs, you're gonna go up against Next, and I was gonna ask what's your thoughts about that matchup, but I guess that answer is answered. So you're confident you're gonna get your spot in playoffs?
I think so, yes. Yeah, I think so. I think we can do it. Honestly, we're playing good. We are having fun together. We lost in game. Everything is going to be all right. And even if we lose, honestly, everything is gonna be all right. But I don't think we are gonna lose. So we are gonna make to playoff, and it's gonna be the miracle run. That's all.
I really like the confidence. I mean,
Yes.
with that, I think everything is said. So, well, I really want to thank you for your time,
Thank you.
and I wish you the best of luck for your next game.
Thank you. I wish you the best as well for the next cast, and wish you the best for Riftslot also, even if we are going to beat them in playoff.
Can't wait to see that then. I think it's going to be an awesome few matches.
Yeah,
So,
I think so.
thank you for your time, Aval. And yeah, I'd say without any further ado, we'll be heading into a break to prepare for the next game of tonight, which is going to be none other than Fulkia Esports against Next. So, brace yourselves and we'll see you very soon.